Q4 is like that free trial. You know how you go sign up for Hulu or something like that and you're going to get a free trial for 30 days, 60 days or whatever. So Q4 is literally a trial period for your next year. No matter if you're looking at this in 2024 or 2028 or whenever, if you're viewing this in Q4 of whatever year, this is like the free trial for you or for to get your ass in gear for the next year to come. So I had this notion, and I kind of had it off and on through working in corporate and now working for myself, is that, you know, the whole thing of quarter one, quarter two, quarter three, quarter four. And technically how a lot of corporations start planning for the previous year, like midpoint of the current year, right? And as a person, not necessarily as an entity, you're probably like, I'm just trying to make it through the day to day, not to plan ahead or do a forecast. And one of the things that theories that I've had is that we have to start looking at the quarters, even though we're not a corporation, but just common people, to understand where I am when it comes to not only myself and my self-development, but also where I am when it comes to my money. And one of the things that I shared with someone recently is that Q4 is like that free trial. You know how you go sign up for Hulu or something like that and you're going to get a free trial for 30 days, 60 days or whatever. So Q4 is literally a trial period for your next year. No matter if you're looking at this in 2024 or 2028 or whenever, if you're viewing this in Q4 of whatever year, this is like the free trial for you or for to get your ass in gear for the next year to come. So my bad. My name is Nadia. I'm a financial planner as well as an educator. I help people understand their wallet while to build their wealth. So in this video, I'm going to give you 4 things to keep in mind when it comes to aligning Q4 to be your free trial for the next year. Let's get into it. You heard right. I've already said about Q4 being like your free trial, but I'm going to tell you something that's been a trial for all of us in unprecedented times. Is that this economy keeps trying us. Inflation keeps trying us. Implementation with the money that we have while seeing people showcase other money, whether it's real or not. Like, the math isn't mathing. So I wanted to go into how we can build 2024, this Q4 of 24, to make it align for 25. I try to make that rhyme. If you know me, I know me. So on number 1, I want you to review the budget that you have and adjust towards what you see in flux. Why I'm bringing this up is because I remember on this Women in Money thing that I was watching, and the presenter said that she has the same budget for the whole year. No sinking funds for holidays, no sinking funds for kids going back to school if you got kids. Even if inflation hits, it's like the same budget. I'm like, how can you do that? The theory around having a budget is not for you to be just to be set it and forget it. It's for you to understand your plan for your money, understand the pace of your money, which is set by your paycheck, and then track and measure and then align every so often. You know, I have already talked about over on the blog, mentioning around finding the budget method that works for you, based upon the reality of your money, your income, your expenses, your bills, and everything like that, to adjust as needed. So like I called out about, hey, how can you not have sinking funds for this or for that? Because throughout this year, I've seen a lot of posts of people saying, oh, I'm probably gonna overspend on Christmas. But if you go back as far as May to understand what did you spend for the holiday coming up, budget a reverse engineer it to say this is how much I can set aside from May until October, November. So by the time it's go time to buy for Christmas, or I can be buying a little over a loan, that I'm able to bridge for it. So within the tip 1, I want you to look at your budget for the year. Not only look at your budget, pull your bank statements. You know I'm going to say that when it comes to out of your wallet. Pull your bank statements, pull your credit card statements to look at the budget that you have versus the reality. So the budget is going to be like, this is what I estimated my expenses to be based upon the plan that I had it. And this is what the reality of that was. So whenever you get the reality of it, you're able to say, okay, I might need to refocus or correct my budget so it can match my reality going into Q4 and Q1 of 2025. The theory is that I want you to look back each month of this year up to now to see what did you do with your budget, what didn't you do, and how can you improve based upon the formula that you have from what you did well. Even if you didn't do as good as you wanted and you left your budget on red, meaning it went into the red, still give yourself grace because you're doing better than the year before. So I want you to check out the budgeting method to see if it's working. If you've been doing 50, 30, 20, it is not working, look into zero-based budgeting. If you've been doing 70, 20, 10, maybe look into envelope budgeting or any other kind of budgeting method. On the blog, I talk about the different methods, who it works for, who it doesn't work for, even give you some apps and some spreadsheets. So I want you to be able to say, okay, if I know that around, or how do I call it, cash cycling, that are budget cycling, that I know around October, November, December, January, that the utility bills are going to go up. So how am I going to do like what some of these utility companies do and do like a space no loan, and knowing that this is my baseline for how much that I am going to be paying for my utilities, and then how can I or save for the uptick of my money, if that makes sense. So if you understand what your budgeted method is doing, understand the reality, and then recycle or not necessarily recycle, but readjust to fit any influx that you can see, you'll be able to handle your money. So like I said, I already been talking about this over on the blog. Another thing to call out is that a lot of people are noticing that, especially around this time of year that we're going into with Q4, that your grocery bills is going up. And it's too much. We know when the air outside costs too much. So knowing if your entertainment is going up too much, how are you going to know that if you're using the same budget from last year when we already seen inflation go up? I don't care how they're saying it's easing, it's still going up for you. Correct? So I want you to utilize Q4 as a way to set a clean slate for 2025. So on step 2 is pretty simple, and you already going to be seeing this throughout this time of year because everybody's trying to hit those limitations. Step 2 is for you to max out and contribute to your retirement. No matter if it's your 401k or a regular or Roth IRA, understanding what retirement that you do have, maybe it's an old one that you could roll over into an IRA, or understanding how your retirement works right now. I've had a newsletter that just talked about open enrollment, and one of the key things I wanted people to focus on was your retirement, because your company is going to tell you, even if they do or they don't, during open enrollment, about your retirement. What funds are in there? Can you uptick your contributions? And social media is going to be telling you, the limitations for 2024 and the limitations for 2025 when it comes to your contributions when your retirement. So the thing around it is that I want you saving for the bill that you're going to have to build for your retirement. And one of the things that I called out with a client session recently is that I want her to retool how she rethink about retirement. So the same way that you have income streams to handle your budget, now what are the income streams that's going to handle your retirement? Is that IRA that you're going to that you currently have right now, one being from rollovers that's going to go towards your medical bills, or another IRA that's going to go towards you traveling? You want to travel in retirement and not be stuck at home, I understand. Or if you either going to take a 401k that you have right when you retire, or you've been building up to, for it to contribute to your housing. So how we retool our retirement will allow us to work backwards to say, how am I aligning the funds within my retirement funds to actually grow over time? I know people love to say, oh, you contribute this, contribute that, or contribute whatever. The theory around don't just contribute, distribute. I know that is a tongue twister for me right there. So the thing when it comes to your 401k and this thing of contributing to your 401k, I want you to know, yes, about match, but I want you to match the energy of that match to determine that you're going to be putting in more than just your target date fund. Everybody gets hung up on target date funds. They are good, but some of them don't perform well. So you're going to be taking Q4 as a time for you to go and look into your retirement and say, what's match? What are the funds that are matching the energy? Are they giving me performance that I want for the longevity of this account? Am I hitting my savings rate for contributions? Could I be contributing just enough? Am I hitting the match or the maximum that I contribute for the year? Or do I need to catch up if you're over 50? And then when it comes to your IRA, what is the threshold that you can do within your budget? If you can't hit the 135, which is a 7,000, or it's the same for 2025, it's a 7,000. Can I hit the 7,000 for the year? Here how it breaks down for every week, which is 135. If I can't hit that much, how much can I contribute? But what funds can I distribute? Meaning, am I putting funds into a low expense ETF as well as index funds to grow over time? And often you will see people saying, oh, I contributed to a IRA. I just put money over there. And then when it's time for you to retire, it didn't really grow. Why? Because you didn't take the funds to find funds for it to grow. So on step 2, I want you to get very diligent about not just maxing out your 401k, not just maxing out your IRA, but maximizing the optimization of the funds actually growing. So looking to see if I'm hitting the contribution levels that I was supposed to hit for the year. How does that look like in my budget? I don't want you to put more money that you can afford to in your retirement, because having some in your retirement is better than having none in your retirement, because a lot of people are retiring to find themselves not having much at all. But if you were to optimize what you did have while you were contributing along the way, it might have actually grown more than what you thought. So that is step 2. Going into step 3, I want you to pay down your debt strategically. I know that the national debt limit for the United States is $1 trillion, but I don't even worry about that. I'm more so worried about your debt, because regardless of what happens with student loan forgiveness, regardless of what happens with the economy, the debt is still going to be there. And it's going to be compounding every day that you have it. So within this tip, which is tip 3, that we're going to pay down debt strategically, I want you to look at your high interest debt first, whether it's credit cards or loans. I know that the interest rate got cut. Some of them loans might start to ease on the APR, but we will still notice that that debt is still compounding no matter how far the drop goes. So before the year ends, I want you to take Q4 to determine what is your high interest debt, what is the plan that works for you and your budget and your goals, rather is a snowball payoff method or an avalanche payoff method. Let me know in the comments if you would like me to elaborate on that. On both of them, more than likely I still am. But also I want you to call those people that you owe, negotiate the interest rate down if you can, and then see, even if you can't still handle the payments, do they have hardship programs that you can tap into? I talked about the negotiation process for credit cards or any kind of loans, heck, even for your auto insurance over on the website. So determine what debt that you have, call those people, pay what you can, negotiate to see what you can, I can do this instead. And if you owe the IRS, do an offer in compromise. Tell them what's going on with your income. Set payments that match your budget that is going to allow you to be comfortable with it. So, and then step 3, pay down that debt strategically, but also go ahead and be honest with yourself. This is what I have. This is what I can pay per month. Now, can I sit there and find a method that works for it to give me some comfort level while we are noticing what's going on with student loan forgiveness and what's going on, if they're going to forgive it, how much, if they're going to, how long it's going to take. Those bills are still due. So go ahead, if you have student loan debt, looking into see at the time of me recording this, the Fresh Start program, if your loans were in default, is still going on. I don't know by the time you watch this if it was still going on, but find ways to handle your debt. Get real with it, realign it within your budget, negotiate, and then find a plan that works for you. Snowball or avalanche. So let's go into step number 4. Step number 4 is, I wouldn't be a financial planner if I didn't bring this up, because you have to have financial goals, regardless of if you do a vision board, you put on a board like this, you got a screensaver, you went to Canva, and to make all these pretty vision boards, you still have to have the goals strategically aligned or SMART. You know what SMART means. So within this step 4, I want you to not only look at what goals that you had set in January, where you were in June or July, whichever you call the midpoint of the year, and then how can you get strong for the end of the year. So you're going to use Q4 to say, this is what I did in Q1, Q2, Q3, say that a couple of times, and then what worked, what was a formula to make it work, how did I strive or how did I get stagnant in my goals, and then actually formulating goals better to handle Q4 and then go into 2025. So the thing is, I'm reading, is that I want you to answer yourselves these questions. When you do an analysis of what you were in 2024, you're going to be able to take the reflect and repositioning period of Q4 to say, okay, for 2025, this is what it looks like with my savings. This is what it looks like with my spending. This is in budgeting. This is what it looks like with my investing. This is what it looks like with my estate planning and long-term planning or anything of that sort. Because if I sit here and you work with me, even if it's in mind or if it's in realistic, that one of the things that I lead with meeting with people is that, what are your goals? What does it look like 20 years down the line for your life? Regardless if you're in retirement, people live in retirement for 30 plus years. So how does your end of your life look like? How much do you have? How are you able to go comfortably? And then you backtrack to see, what does that look like in the next 1 to 3 years, the next 4 to 6 years, and then pocketing it to the end part of your life. So the thing is, are we looking at 2025? Are you able to go on vacation? Babe, it's options for you to do vacation with buy now, pay later or payment plans. Heck, Cheap Caribbean is one of my favorite platforms to utilize for that. Are you able to, you want to buy a house? I know that the mortgage rates are easing, but it's not necessarily you understanding the mortgage rate, but also the process to getting it. Do you have a sinking fund or a high yield savings account for Ally? You can utilize it in both. Do you have a sinking fund designated for a down payment, for earnest money? You see how we're taking that big goal that you have and we working it backwards to saying, okay, this is how I want to buy a house. This is what the products are going to align. Do I have a high yield savings account for a high yield savings account, down payment, earnest money, anything like that, and it will come for you to get into the house? And then even after you get into the house, are you going to have a high yield savings account that is just for inspections? That was the word. So are you going to have a high yield savings account to be able to handle things outside of your warranty that you may have? That is the way I want you to start thinking about your goals, to say, okay, am I going to build my emergency fund? How much does my emergency fund look like? And then if you know that you need to have 3 to 6 to 12 months of emergency fund within that high yield savings account, what product is going to fit for that? So high yield savings account is called that. But then you're going to have to figure out the formula for you to hit those goals. So when it comes to an emergency fund, so you need 3 to 6 months, right? So you're going to have a high yield savings account, right? Then you're going to look into see how long is it going to take me to get to that threshold? But also how we're going to break it down to saying, okay, I can get a month saved. What's the formula? What does that look like within your budget? How long did that take you to get a month saved? Anything like that. So it's about taking the big goal, breaking it down, and then building it out into what you can do. And keep in mind too, when it comes to emergency fund, having some is better than none. That is a theory that I love to say to my clients, is that I want you to have some of towards your goal versus none towards your goal, and then trying to figure out how this is gonna go. Okay, so when it comes to that, I want you, what does 2025 look like for you? Write that down. Get in your notepad, your little note app, and write that down. What does that look like? And then what do you currently do right now to align to it? One of the things that I wrote about a couple of years ago, before like really getting started and talking about personal finance or finance in general, was that you have these big audacious goals, or your bag. You know, everybody like, I'm in my bag, my financial bag. Cool. So when you have those big audacious goals, that's the big year, the thing that you have for the year. Like for the year, I know I want to do X, Y, and Z. You already did the SMART method. Then how does that look like breaking down to quarterly? How does it look like breaking down to monthly? How does it look broken down to weekly? And how does it look to day to day or daily? Each of those breakdowns is going to be the deposit that you pay for your goals to unfold in 2024 into 2025 or period down the line. You have to find that formula that works for you. And that's going to take you going through and doing, looking at the play. I love sports. Looking at the play, looking at the film to say, well, this is what I did. This is what went well. This is why it went well. This is why it didn't go well. Rather, I stride or felt I was stagnant. And then you're going to take and pull those insights to implement your money better. No matter if it's going to Q4, no matter if it's 2024, 2025, 2030. Dad, I feel old saying that. But that's the way that you have to envision you managing your money. Yes, I could look at your budget. Yes, you could open up a high yield savings account. Yes, you could open up a 529, a UGMA, UTMA for your kids. But how is your money looking for you on the day to day? Not just what's going to come tomorrow or what happened yesterday. You have to take an idea of what happened yesterday to form a better day to day and then to position you better for tomorrow. So you think about, again, when it comes to your financial goals, looking at that big audacious goal that you have for 2024, what strive, what to stay stagnant, and what can we reposition to make it happen towards the end of in Q4. And then understanding your funds formula, meaning how did you handle it? What did you do well? What did not do well? Did you have a budget? But I noticed that I need to look at my budget, check in around the 15th so I can make sure I'm staying on budget or under budget by the end of the month. Things like that. So I know that I want to start investing in my retirement fund. How is my 401k looking? Am I just contributing? Am I hitting enough with the savings rate? Am I putting it in funds that make sense? Am I budgeting right? Do I need to do zero-based budgeting? Do I have a cheap? Can I get a cheaper rate when it comes to my mortgage? Can I get a cheaper rate when it comes to my rent? Negotiate. So it's about seeing where you are. What can you be doing? What are you doing good, and what can you be doing better? It's always about repositioning along the way, because a lot of people love to tell you that some things like a budget or like a savings is setting and forget it. But it's also about redetermining where you are and can I be doing things better. So before we go ahead and get out of this video, let's just recap. So with your free trial for 2025, which is Q4, the tip that I have for you, the first tip was review and adjust your budget. When's the last time that you did your budget? This is October. October is financial planning month. So that's one of the basics and the foundations when it comes to your personal finances or your financial plan, is to understand where your budget goes. I've been noticing a lot of entrepreneurs and creators and influencers starting to talk to me about understanding their budget and understanding their savings. So regardless if you're one of those or you're not, you still need to understand where your money is going. You can't measure what you don't track. That goes for your budget. Tip 2 was to max out or max the vibe within your contributions and your distributing of funds into your retirement fund. So think about what I talked about, having retooling you to think about retirement as a income stream for later. Is it going to be designated for your house? What's going to be designated for your housing? What's going to be designated for your travel? Regardless if you retire at 45 or 65, you still need to think about those things, because, and then let me go ahead and add this into it, is that even if you think about those things, what is the income stream? What are you going to be doing? I've been finding a good bit of people going into retirement or backdooring into retirement and finding themselves don't know what they're going to do. They know they have the money saved, but they're bored. So what does that look like? Not only the income streams, but how are you going to implement your retirement? Are you going to be volunteering? Are you going to be able to take up a hobby that you love? So it's about understanding what you want to do in retirement. Okay. The next one is for you. The next tip was for you to pay down debt strategically. I don't care what's going to happen with this economy, that I do find that regardless of what goes on in the stock market, you need to worry about the stock market of your debt, meaning how things are going up and down, how you find a plan that actually works with your budget, your goals, and if there's a hardship or another way to get around, that you are aligned to it. So understanding what's going on with your debt, talk to those people, pay those people, pay them soon versus none, and then go ahead and determine if snowball or avalanche works for you. And in step 4, I'm going to tell you to set you some financial goals. And let me take that back, for you to review the financial goals that you have for 2024, review where you are with those goals. Did you strive or were you stagnant? And then determine what are we going to use Q4 to do? Are we going to use it to take the formula of things that went right, and then refocus them to help me with the goals that didn't go so well, or I forgot to do it. I forgot. And then how we're going to repackage it to set the foundation for 2025 in Q4. So that's it. Those are the 4 things for you to optimize your free trial of 2025, also known as Q4. Let me know in the comments, what does your free trial look like? What are you going to do in Q4 to make sure that you kick in the door for 2025, or you strive in 25, whichever you know that they're going to give some terminology to. And then, so you let me know in the comments. Don't forget to check out any of the blogs or any of the resources I put in the description bar. It's usually packed with something. Make sure that you also opt into my newsletter. The one that I put out at the time of recording this was around open enrollment. I have it public, so some stuff that I would put that is only for the community, but also I will also share that things that are going to be public, because I honestly feel that open enrollment is one of those critical times, because I felt that I've been noticing a lot of people have their in and out network when it comes to their primary care doctor or anything like that. The doctors that they've been having for years is no longer in their network. So then it's like you ran with your neck cut off because you're trying to figure out what's going to happen with your insurance. So check that out. Subscribe to my newsletter. Also follow me on all forms of social media. But don't forget to comment in the comment section and let me know, what does Q4 look like for you? What did you learn this year that you want to carry into or do differently in 2025? And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. That's it.